everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Chronicles of an Immigrant podcast. And I am Mo, if you don't know me, and I am still Mo, if you still know me. Anyways, hi everybody. Hi, hello,
Hello, good afternoon,
good
everyone.
afternoon. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
How's your weekend?
It's been good. It's been good. It's been
Not
good.
not too bad.
Not too bad at all.
Are you enjoying the week, or it's just like
It's been a busy week, like all my weeks. By Thursday, I felt I was on Saturday. So my weeks are running very, very
very fast?
quickly.
Yeah, and it's every day, every day. It's just feel like can you imagine like November started, December 2024 is about to end.
Yeah.
Like, when do we say Happy New Year?
I feel as though the year is gone. It's almost like it's time for New Year. What's happening in January? That's how I feel right
I'm
now.
telling you, one of my friends asked me to like this, our job contributions, monthly
yeah.
contributions. And she was like, do I want to take part in it? And I'm like, 2024 money has been allocated. Now we are looking forward to
2025.
you can imagine.
Yeah.
Oh God. Anyways, so what's your typical? Do you have any plans for the weekends usually if you're not podcasting, if you're not here?
Oh, so my weekend is usually spent running around some little people that I have in my back pocket. So my weekend is usually recovering from the week and planning for the next week while trying to corral. I have a set of quadruplets, so I try to corral them and somehow still reserve energy for the next day.
You said quadruplets.
Yeah, quadruplets.
Wait, please, quadruplets is 4 or 3?
Four.
Four. You have 4.
4 girls, 4 little girls.
Wait. No comment. How are you surviving? How are you no, not surviving, striving.
One day at a time. One day at a time. We just take one day at a time. Each day is different. I try not to see what the next day is going to look like. I just let's survive this day. Let everybody go to bed, and then I can breathe.
Oh my
and then see
God.
what the next day will
But
look like.
I bet you wouldn't change it for anything.
Oh no. As they've given me a different type of why. Why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I do what I do. They give me motivation because when it's just you, there's a tendency to you just get on with it. You're not necessarily pressed to get any higher because you're comfortable.
Yeah.
You're comfortable, you're fine. And it can be enough sometimes, but for them, I have something to look forward to. I have a reason to say, oh, okay, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, I have an additional oomph, as it were, as opposed to what it was like for me before. At least this is me personally. I was doing very well and it was fine. There wasn't any pressure as such, so.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't wait to dive into that story. But do you want to introduce yourself to everybody? Your name, your original nationality, and how long you've been in the UK for? Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Dayo. I'm Dayo Adeose. I came into the UK in 1999. I can't forget it because I know at that point in time, everybody thought the world was going to end before 2000. So I came in 1999. So I've been here about 20 odd years.
25 years now.
About 25 years. And what else? At the moment, I am a mix of an entrepreneur, a business analyst, and a quad mom.
That quad mom. Even I'm sitting here like, boom, quad mom. Oh my God. Okay, so when you came to the UK in 1999, what did you do? Like, how was the journey like?
Oh, okay. So, I came after my youth service.
Okay.
I came after my youth service. I had a certain dream that I was following. So when I came into the UK, I wanted to continue down that line. However, my first job anyway ended up being with WH Smith.
Okay.
And I mean, it was fun. I was working at Waterloo Station. I can't forget that. I used to work at Waterloo Station
In
and
London.
in London.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it was interesting. But I think I was there for like a year. God, I must have read almost all the books there. That was the beautiful thing for me about working at W.H. Smith. I could read books. That was when Harry Potter just came out. The first few ones were coming out. Unfortunately, I didn't read it then. I really haven't read it here because I have this thing about when everybody's going for something. I'm like, nah, I'm not about that. So, yeah, I didn't read it anyway, but it was around and there were a lot of other books. And I loved that about working at W.H. Smith that I could read
For free.
For free too.
That's the best part.
So, yeah, that was that. And then from W.H. Smith, I went on to work in a Christian organization. And I was there for about 15 odd years.
Doing what?
I did a lot of things, including being behind the camera. I was a personal assistant. I was a project manager. I was a station manager. I was an editor. I was a producer.
You were doing
Name it.
everything.
Yeah, I touched on a lot of things while I was there, and eventually it was time to move on. And I then decided I was going to be a business analyst. So I restarted again, and it was fun. I got into that, and that's still it's still in one pocket, for want of a better word. But then I I'd always been interested in healthy living, sustaining your health, maintaining your health. I like knowing about herbal teas and mixing oils and toxin-free living. And so I always just had those things that I was always getting into, but they didn't really make sense to me as much as when I now decided, oh, okay, I'm going to get pregnant. And then the whole story then just took a different, just went on a different tangent. Okay. You did say I should tell you about myself.
Yes. That story is a story that we're going to spend a lot of time diving into. But when you came to the UK in 1999, what kind of visa did you come to the UK with at that time?
Okay, so I have a British passport, so I came.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So who was it? Your mom, your dad?
My mom.
Okay.
My mom. Yeah. So I was born here. So at that point in time, being born here would automatically give you. My parents were both here, but yeah, so I got it.
Okay, at that time. Yeah. At that time. So if you don't mind me asking, please, how old are you?
Oh wow! So
because that's a very long time ago.
It is a long time ago. So as of September just passed, I was 50.
I'm 58. You don't look it. Yeah, it's a golden jubilee. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Did you have a pie?
Oh, so my friend Anne, I think you've met her before.
Yes.
A wonderful, wonderful lady. So she got my friends and my family, my cousins, and from March, she started planning in March a surprise party for me in March.
That's so sweet.
Because they knew I wasn't going to do anything. I was just like, anybody had asked, I was like, look, I don't have the brain space. I don't have the capacity to think of all of that. That's going to be a bit too much for me. So, yeah, I'm not. But they're like, oh, you have to do something. Yeah, I said, okay, fine. I'll do a Thanksgiving in church. The closer we got to the Thanksgiving, I'm like, do I really need to invite anybody to this Thanksgiving? Can't we just, all of us, can't we just go and then we have snacks in church and...
As in, why do I have to make so much noise about this?
They're like, okay, yeah. Okay, yes. Okay. So the closer we got, I think a week to, I was like, I don't have any snacks for all these people. My cousin said, don't worry, just get some chin and some, give it an African theme kind of thing. You don't need to get a lot. People may not like it, blah, blah. I was like, I thought to myself, that's interesting. Well, it didn't really bother me. I was just like, okay, we'll get some stuff, but there was like, oh, have you told this person to come for the Thanksgiving? I'm like, it's too far. I'm in Lancaster. A lot of my connections are still London side. I'm like, it's far. She's like, no, you just tell them. Just they may not want to come, but it's good that you acknowledge them, that you value them, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. So I just reached out to some people. This is what I'm doing. I honestly was doing it and I felt so silly, but I was like, okay, I get what she means about letting people know, even if they're not coming, it shows you value them. And yeah, some people were like, oh, okay. A lot of people were like, oh, sorry, we can't come. And I was like, fine, it's not a problem. I didn't expect you to come really, but so on the day I had some of my Anne was at my place. I think who else? My one of my younger cousins had come as well. You know, I thought they planned something because I started to expect something. I thought they planned it for the Saturday, but I went out in the evening. I was like, I'm not sure these people can do anything within the time I've gone out and come back. You know, I came back and they had cleared one room. They had cleared one of the rooms. So I'm like, oh, okay, nice. I've been wanting to clear that room. So fantastic.
You didn't even click.
Then what was it? Somebody said something. And I was like, we're all going to be in church on Sunday. I don't see how they're going to get this done. Do you understand? Because I was trying to put two and two together. I was like, if these people plan something, unless they are not planning it in this house, they can't plan it in this house, and I would not know. You know. And I didn't see how they were going to do it with me, the girls, and all the people moving. No, like anyway, we went to church. Like, oh, my big cousins came in like, oh, you're not in church yet. You need to be in church now. You need to move. Okay, we're all following you. Everybody's coming. I was like, okay. It was raining. Okay, let's go. We got to church. I was like, oh, where is this person? They're coming. I mean, I saw some cars coming after me. So I was like, where is this person? Okay. Service started, and they all shout trooped in eventually.
So they came for the
everybody was there for the Thanksgiving. So they had planned it in such a way that I honestly don't know how they planned it, but they had planned it that
you're surprised.
Oh, so what had happened was we all came to church, but before I could blink, everybody was disappearing. I'm like, where is this person? Where is that person? Everybody had disappeared. And then my eldest cousin was like, you need to wait. All the people that came to see you in church, like a lot of them have gone. She's like, well, there are still people in church, and you brought snacks for them. You need to be sure that they eat the snacks. That the first hour, I was like, do you know what? Yeah, let's pack and go. I'm done. You know, I'm done. You know, after we dragged it, I said the girls are tired, and I want to come home. So that's how we got home, and yay!
Oh, that's so sweet.
Everybody was there. So I was really, really touched.
That's good because you'll always remember that.
Yes.
Milestone. You have a lot to celebrate, especially your girls.
Yes. 4
girls. Okay, now let's dive into that story. That's the story. That story, everybody wants to hear it. Like, how does this woman have quadruplets? Four girls. So please, what happened? Like, how did you? What led to that? How did that happen?
Okay, so not necessarily a popular opinion.
Yeah.
Not when we were chatting, I did tell you that I'm not an advocate for going it on your own. However, like I said, I'm 50. At 40, I was still so invested in the work I was doing. And the thought of getting married, I wanted to get married, and it was something that was just at the back of my mind. I was like, when the guy comes, you know, there's a tendency for you to think that the guy just drops from heaven, you know, or you think that somebody's going to introduce you. I mean, ladies, you are not on everybody's mind, really. So some things you have to be. That word makes me laugh anytime I hear it, or have to say, be intentional. You have to be intentional about it. It's all the buzzword and everything. Well, I got to that point and I started to say, oh, if I get to 40 and I don't get married, I will do this. If I get to 45, I don't get married, I do this. I get to this age, I don't do this. Okay, I got to 46. There wasn't anybody I was going to settle down with. I mean, there wasn't even anybody, to be first, because I'm really, really an indoor person. I'm pretty introvert in the sense that I can only expand so much social niceties before I'm
Yeah, you get
done.
exhausted. I get that. I get
And
it.
after a while, I mean, I can stay in my house 1 month. I'm not really seeing anybody, talking to anybody. I'm
But you want
fine.
to talk to the pizza guy that brings you
Something that
pizza.
brings up pizza, exactly, you know. And I just decided, because it's something I'd been remunerating on, so it wasn't a spur of the moment decisions. I'd looked at the ramifications, do I have the support? Am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to do that? And I mean, I spoke to the significant people in my in my tribe. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking, and as a whole, maybe a very odd. Maybe that's
Yeah.
1 out of 100 would be like, but every other person was like, oh, why not?
Why not?
You know. So I got up, did my research, made a few calls, and said, okay, I'm going down the IVF route.
But I want to take on a bit of a backtrack, and I'm taking on a bit of a backtrack because of all the single ladies that will probably be hearing this episode. Is that, was there anybody like in your life, before, as single women, sometimes we tend to focus on our careers and stuff, and you're like, not ready yet, maybe later, and you just kept postponing it, and then it just never happened, or there was just no one.
So for me, the odd person got introduced to me, but this was me trying to feel to make it. When you want to say, when you say you want to fulfill all righteousness, let it not be that I did not even attempt to do this. That had then become the situation. I mean, if I had met the right person, I probably would have just gone with the right person, but in this instance, I met somebody and we just did not click. I thought we clicked, but there was an instance of, it was a trans country relationship, a distance
Long
relationship,
distance.
and he had not been here. He wanted to come here, but he hadn't been here. And it was a case of, you don't call me, you don't pick up the phone when I call. I'm like, guy, I'm at work. At work, the office I was in at that point, they frown on you being on the phone where you're supposed to be at the office now. Interesting enough, I think he's here now. And I think he understands the concept of, I can't just be picking up the phone every time you call me. If you call me when I'm at work, I may not be able to pick up the phone at that point in time. But all of those things were assigned to me that, yeah, I'm not 20. I can't be pandering to, oh, pay me, you didn't call me, and I am not about that. I can't do that. I mean, I'm the kind of person who will forget my own birthday. So if I have somebody who's really needy,
every
you have to
time.
remember me. You have to. I don't know.
But it's interesting because you're saying that, please, I'm not 20. I'm not in my 20s. I'm in my 40s. I don't have time for stress. But because of the societal pressure, especially as Africans as well, is that the older you get, the more the pressure. And the more the pressure, the more you feel like you just have to settle for anybody that is there at the moment.
Okay. This is where I will acknowledge, I acknowledge my family. My family didn't put me under pressure. Obviously there was the odd, what's happening? What's happening?
Yeah.
Even some of my friends, Steve, where's the brother? Where's this brother? After all, I started asking him, did you bring somebody to me? Did you introduce anybody to me? That I said no. It's a good question. You are asking me, where's the person? Where's the person? I can't pluck a man from a tree. Do you understand? And I started to ask people back, where's the guy? Like, who did you introduce to me? Who did you introduce to me? Did you introduce anybody to me? You said no. I said, then I can't just manufacture a guy because, I can't.
And then you made the decision.
Yeah, I mean, initially, so I started out with trying to learn to date.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer that you want to do something, get information, do your research, know what you're doing, so you do it right. pastor I used to be a pastor I used to be a part of at a point in time would say, "You want to get it right the first time," you know. And so I said, okay. I have a friend who does dating and things like that. So I said, okay. I contacted her and she was like, fine. So help me with my profile, help me with this, online dating, blah, blah. In the process of even trying to get me into the frame of dating, because I had a lot of other issues that were there, some childhood experiences that were kind of disturbing that, as it were. And one day, we were talking, she was like, okay, so what is really important to you? Is it dating, or is it getting married, or is it having
Kids.
Because when we talk about all these things, these are things that were coming up. And I did try online dating, to be fair. I met a guy that we are still friends till today, but we haven't met. And we're not
Okay.
even in the same country. And he's perfectly comfortable the way he is. I'm comfortable the way I am. So I don't think anything is going to come from there, but we just talk.
Yeah.
Then there was somebody else with the first child. I was like, oh, I want children. He's like, well, he's been there, done that. He's not really interested. Let's not waste each other's time. Move on. And I was like, I can't do this. This requires a little bit more than it. And again, like I said, it's not for everybody. Some people are fine doing this. I'm not. I have friends who have met their partners online and they're perfectly happy, but they invested into
Time.
that.
So you have to kiss so many frogs before you find
yes, and that's what my friend says, exactly what she says. She tells me all the time. She says, like, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you get a prince. So she'll tell me, like, you look at it like you're shopping. You just put many in the basket and then you sort it out. But I just couldn't. I couldn't sustain it. I couldn't, then one of a sister's friend's sister, she then asked me, we were talking about this, and she was like, which would you regret? Not getting married or not having children? I said, yeah, not having children. I said, because I can get married at 60. I can get married at 70. I can get married at 80. I mean, people get married at 90.
Yeah.
I said, but I can't be having children at 60. I can't be having children at 70. There's a point where by the time you're 55, I mean, not for everybody. Some people still try to have their children at 55, but for me as a person, by 55, I'm like,
yeah, even at 46, it's quite. It's not young either.
It's not young either, So I'm like, I'm not. I don't doubt that I will get married. I don't doubt it, but I'm not going to get married because the biological clock is going tick tock, tick tock. No, because that is almost always the additional pressure that a lot of young ladies get under. I'm I have to have children. I have to have children. My biological clock is ticking. Then one bozo just comes and then you marry, and then tomorrow you have 10 children and you are still crying. He's beating you. He does not provide. He has changed. He has done this. He has done this. Even when you saw all the signs, all the red flags were there, but you gave into the pressure. The thing with pressure is, when you give into the pressure, all the people pressurizing you are not going to live with you in the house.
100%.
They're not going to be there. Like I said, I appreciate my family so much that they didn't put me under pressure. They barely even need to ask me what's happening. Once in a while, somebody will say, what's this? But they.
So how did you, so when you now decided that, okay, I want to have kids by myself, single, but I'm going to do it by myself, what did you have to do?
Oh, in the first time around, I just got up. I found a clinic I liked, and I just got up and I went to the clinic. And of course, it failed because
in the UK.
No, I went to Northern Cyprus.
Okay, Cyprus.
Yeah, because I looked at the UK. The UK is expensive.
Yeah.
In my opinion, again, my personal opinion, the European countries tend to be a bit more experimental than the UK, but this is my opinion. Everybody
has their own different.
Yeah, everybody has their own different opinion there, and I didn't also want to be just a number,
Yeah.
just passing through, you know. I knew what I wanted, and I wasn't sure I was going to get it in the UK.
Okay.
Budget, of course, as well. I had to consider that. I went the first time, and it didn't work,
Hmm.
and I was shocked because this is me. I'm healthy. I mean, yes, I'm getting on in years, but I'm healthy. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I don't party. I eat as well as I can.
Yeah.
How could that go wrong? I mean, on earth could that go wrong? I was shattered. By the time I saw the first result, I was shattered. I sat there and I cried. I really, really cried, you know. And I said, okay. During my sessions with my friend who was helping me with dating, we had kind of turned it from dating to preparing me to have a child.
And was it through the IVF route?
Yes.
This journey? Okay.
Yeah. And when we had one of our conversations, because she had asked me earlier that if you do this and it doesn't work, what then? And I said, I'll go back. You know, and like I'm going to go back at it until I get it right. You know. So that failed, and I just carried on. I was working, I just went on with work. And the next year I said, okay, fine. What did I miss? What have I missed? What have I missed? If I'm going to get married, I'm going to prepare, I'm going to read. Obviously, this giving birth, getting pregnant thing needs a bit more investigation. So I started reading, I started researching, I started joining groups on Facebook, I started getting information. You know, I got a nutritionist, I got a therapist, I hit it. I mean, I went at it from mental, physical, emotional, everything. I was like, whatever it takes, I'm going to get it right. You know, and I mean, I was reading, I was discovering things that the average, your average doctor may not necessarily tell you, because they are, and it's not as if they don't want to tell you. It's not just necessarily not an important thing for them. All they're concerned about, you want to get pregnant, we'll get you pregnant. You know, as many times as it takes, we'll do it. But I'm like, I don't have the time to be doing this like 1,000,001 times.
I know, it's expensive, isn't it?
And it's expensive. I don't want to be. It takes a toll on you emotionally. It takes a toll on you physically. You know, I feel for somebody who's had to do this 10 odd times. You know, because some people keep going back for it because they can't fathom not. You know what it feels like, you going for this process, usually about a month, 2 months, depending on the individual, and then you come out, and then you have a period where you're waiting for like 2 weeks. They call it the 2-week wait period. You're waiting to see if you have an implantation and if it's going to be valid, and then you come out at the end of 14 days and nothing. Yeah.
So wait, the IVF process, and this is a very, very naive question for one that has no idea. So the IVF process, they take your eggs, and then how does the process work?
That naive question, you won't believe it that I did not know what I was expecting. So I got there, and I thought the medication was going to be oral medication because I don't like needles.
Okay.
And the lady was like, no, these are injections. I'm like, which injections? Who's taking injections? She's like, that's the only way you can't do it orally. Hoi. I said, Jesus. You know, but I was already there. I was already in it. Anyway, in answer to your questions, yes. So it's a process whereby you have a period where your ovaries stimulated to produce eggs. You have eggs anyway, but normally you have one dominant egg.
Okay.
Which in a natural process, that one dominant egg is usually the one that you may get pregnant from. But the stimulation process is to help you get a few more dominant eggs.
Okay.
That they then will take out. And then fertilize with a donor sperm or your partner sperm or whoever it is that is giving you the sperm. Then they will fertilize that. And for some people, it's fertilized for 3 days, some for 5 days. It depends on the clinic or the individual. When they get whatever is fertilized, then they put back in you to implant. So they skip several steps that you'd have done naturally anyway. But yeah. That's putting it simply.
In a simple. So when your second round of the IVF journey, did you then go back again to Cyprus, or you decided to change to a different, location?
No, I went back to Cyprus. I went back to the clinic. Again, part of why I liked and I still like the clinic I went to was because my consultant was female. I discovered that majority of the consultants are men. And I'm like, yeah, no. It is such an intimate process that for me, again, this is me. I was like, nah, I don't.
You want to try
And I'm like, isn't there a female doctor that does these things? Aren't there female doctors that do it? So I started searching until I came across this particular lady, because if no matter how good for me, no matter how good the doctor is, there are some things that he is not ever going to understand. I don't know of a doctor that understands the process of something being inserted in you. That is a guy. It's yeah. You anyway. So yeah, I wanted a female doctor, and I got a female doctor, and she, yeah, they are my go-to. If I ever refer anybody, they are the ones I will refer people to, because I had a good relationship with them.
So when you went back, you had the IVF journey, if you don't mind me asking as well. Was it a donor sperm you decided to use, or did you have somebody that you were close to and like, okay. Can you do me a favor, please?
Okay, so that because that involves my children's privacy, I wouldn't answer that.
Okay.
But it's something that people need to consider. If you decided that, oh, I was going to go it on my own, you need to consider that. There's always the option of going by, you could go get donor sperm, and just be prepared that if you do that, you have to explain to the child at one point in time. It may be somebody that who is willing to do that, just so that tomorrow you can say,
this is your
this is your father, or this is the donor, or things like that. For some other people, they don't want to know. So in donor sperm, you have an option where when the child is a certain age, the child can know, or so the donor can be anonymous or known, and you can pick. But in the UK, the donor has to be known. You have to register. They don't do anonymous donations, so that is usually subject to the individual.
Okay, so when this IVF journey, did you know you wanted to have quadruplets, or it was just
no, that
was a miracle? Because it's a miracle in itself, isn't it?
Okay, so basically, like the first time around, it just didn't work. So the second time, I took time to prepare. I think I was a year in preparing, simply because I wanted to go back after 6 months, but then COVID hit. So there was a lockdown, you couldn't travel. So I felt, okay, well, this gives me more time to prepare, and we just prepared. I just carried on. And one day the borders were open, you could travel, but you had to quarantine for a few days. I was like, yeah, why not? I might as well just go there and do the quarantine. I'm not doing anything here anyway.
Yeah.
And I think I've lost track of the question you asked
Like
me.
the question was, did you decide, did you know it was going to be quadruplets?
Oh, no. No. So because it didn't work the first time, the second time around, we were like, okay, let's put an additional egg. I'm being vague in terms of the details, but let's just do more than what we did the last time.
Okay, let's have,
because at least
options.
at least if we put 10 in, at least one should hit, that kind of thing. So the doctor, everybody was kind of surprised, because one then ended up splitting. So that's how we got that. Bear in mind, even if you put 2,
is it
2 can still become 4. so anybody trying to calculate, you do have all incidences of one egg splitting into more than one. I think it's fairly odd, because you have spontaneous triplets or things like that. So
Yeah.
I'm not, and they're identical. Usually when they're identical, it's usually one egg that has split. So I'm not a medical person. I'm just speaking off
Yeah,
of what
for
I've read.
your
So if I'm wrong, please do your own research. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can't be calculating what I did. Don't
Yeah.
use that as your and start guessing. No, she must have done 10 eggs. She must have, nah, you don't know.
Literally, they say I have plenty eggs in your basket. Literally, that's what.
Yes, that was it. Have plenty. One of them was going to
One of the.
hatch.
I don't. But how was the pregnancy journey?
Oh, that was another interesting process. So I went for my validity scan, and they're like, oh, the sonographer was like, oh, she sees one yolk and a heartbeat, fantastic. She's like, okay, this is another one. Okay,
And this
okay.
sonography scan, is it in Cyprus or
No,
in the
here I
UK?
was now back at this now like
Okay.
6.5 weeks,
Okay.
7.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, so before we even got to this point, I'd done the blood test to confirm if I was pregnant.
Okay.
And my reading was really high.
Okay.
So when I sent it back, I was like, what does that mean? I couldn't open it. I was too afraid to open it. So I just sent it to my clinic, and then I opened it and checked. It's like, oh, she just said, oh, that it just means you are very, very pregnant. I was like, yay, okay, very pregnant. But even then, none of us really thought. So I went to do the scan, and the scan was like, she thinks, can you hold on a minute? I need to get somebody else to come see with me. So she called her colleague, and then I was like, oh, there are 4 babies in there. I'm like, 4? She said, yes, 4. Like, wow, okay, I think you need to get in touch with your doctor as soon as possible, and I need to let them know that there are 4, So I got out of there, sat in my car, and I called my brother. That was my first point. Well, I was like, my younger brother, I was like, guy, there are 4. And he was like, okay, good, we got this, we'll be fine. We'll sort it out, don't worry. That's my brother. He does not panic. At least he doesn't let me know he's panicking.
Somebody has to be sane.
Yeah, because if he had panicked, I probably would have started panicking. I was like, no, sis, we've got this, we'll be fine. Okay, what next? What do we need to do? He just like, it's normal. Let's go on. So I got in my car, drove home, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, God, when you do things, you really, really do it. As a side thing. Oh, that's why I always said I want 5 children. I want 5 children. I want 5 children. One day I was telling somebody that I want 5 children, and she's like, "And you're not starting getting pregnant yet? How are you gonna do it?" Because yes, I was already in my 40s when I was saying this. I'm like, you're not even pregnant yet. How do you want to have 5 children before you need to stop having children? God just did one time.
Oh my God.
Not 5, but 4.
4, yeah.
Like one time.
Even that is a miracle in itself.
So the pregnancy itself, I did that. I got the scan. I registered with the. I spoke with a friend, and she was like, "Okay, you need to go register with the teaching hospital." She told me which hospital to go to, so I went to the hospital, and some days a lot of people get pregnant and they are sick, they are throwing up, they can't do this. I didn't do that. I used to have stages when I used to worry if I was actually really pregnant. So one of those days I got up, I didn't feel pregnant. So I went to the hospital. You could walk in. I went to the hospital to early pregnancy unit. I said, well, I don't feel pregnant. So she did a test and she was like, oh, yeah, are you supposed to be here? Because normal pregnancy process, you don't have to go in that early. But when I showed her the scan, she was like, okay, sit down. I think I was the last person they saw that day. So this consultant came. She did a scan, said, okay, she needs to call her boss. Her boss is going to come. Her boss came, checked, and then sat me down. Okay, you do understand that this is a word pregnancy. They are higher multiple orders. They have a name. They call it. There are complications. There are this. There are that. This, that. When she was done, I just sat down and started crying. I just sat down and started crying. Then she understands how it's taking me a lot to get to this place, but I need to consider the options of reduction for my health, for the safety of the children, blah, 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 blah. I was just exhausted by that time.
Like you need to take out some babies.
Yeah, it's something that you also need to prepare yourself for when you have a lot of babies, and I think there's a legal obligation to discuss that with you. Because sometimes there are complications, and they try to mitigate. It's more of the doctors trying to mitigate for your health and for better chances for the other children. I was, after that discussion, I just went home. But by the time I started to see my consultants, it was still a discussion that came up, and I was like, I said, you know what, 1 minute. And I went online. I need to speak to somebody who knows about this type of pregnancy in the UK. I didn't get anybody to respond to me. I sent messages to different places. Nobody responded to me. I eventually heard about a doctor in the States. He wasn't who called. He sent me his number, said I should call him. I called him, and he spoke to me at length over an hour, and he didn't charge me a penny. He told me, how far are you? Okay, and when you get to this stage, you need to start taking this medication. You need to start doing this. When they ask you this. So when I would speak to my doctors and I had questions that I couldn't really ask, maybe they were busy or whatever, I'll go to him. He'll tell me, okay, ask about this. So he gave me, it was like my double check for what I was doing. And as we were going on, the babies were fine. And are we okay to continue as normal? I'll say, yes, we're okay to continue as normal. We'll continue. When we got to viability, I think that was 20 weeks. My doctor was 24 weeks. My doctor was ecstatic, like, fine. Now every day counts. So we're like every week, I was going in for scans every week.
So did they stay till 20, till how many weeks did they
so they wouldn't, UK, at least my doctors were like, you can't go more than 32 weeks.
Okay.
Because of the number of babies there is in space. Even outside of that, I think the American doctor was like, maybe he would have kept it in for 34 weeks. But they won't have room to grow after that.
Yeah.
So I was even telling my doctor that 34 weeks, he was like, let's see if you can get to 32 weeks. He's not sure. Obviously, they're not going to let me get to 34 weeks here, but even that 32 weeks, let's see if we get there. And we carried on. 31 week. So there's some injections you get to prepare you for pregnancy to help the baby's lungs because they're coming early. After I got the first injection, I kind of was like, these babies are not very active. And I was going for the next injection. So I said, let me just let them know that I'm coming for this injection, but is this normal? They didn't let me go back home that day. So that's that. They're like, they checked, they're like, yeah. I was like, I have to go home and go and get my bag. She was like, nope, you can't go home. We don't want you to go into labor on your way home. And I was like, okay, what's going on? One baby was not growing as fast as she should anymore. Her growth has slowed down. There wasn't any problem, but the advice was, so that we don't now have a problem, let's just get them out. It's how many days? The difference is not going to be much. Let's just get them out. And that's how they came out. 31 and 3 days.
My God, it's such it's a testimony. Like, it's a testimony in itself. Choosing 4 children all at once. Are they all identical?
So there's an identical pair and there's a fraternal pair.
When you go out with these girls outside, how old are they now?
So just over about 3.5.
3.5. So when you carry, kids are on buggies. When you carry them on buggies, do you have 4 buggies? Like, how do you push the buggies?
Oh no, the 4-seater buggy I got is very, very heavy.
And people will just be looking at you like, where does this woman have 4 kids from?
Yeah. I mean, it was when I got here, came up north that I actually started taking them out a bit more.
Okay.
When we're in London, I didn't go out that much. It was just the environment was not conducive to bringing them down a lot of stairs, and I wasn't going to do that. So we used to just play in the garden and stuff.
What is your, like, there's so many single women out there, married as well, that single women that are over 30 at the moment, they're not married. They're wondering, because the African mentality is you have to get married. They don't necessarily care about who you marry. Just get married to somebody. Your biological clock is ticking. You should get married. What would you advise? Freezing eggs? Should we freeze eggs? Should we not freeze eggs? Should we what?
Oh, okay. I'm not an advocate. I'm not an activist for single parenthood, or I'm not for or against. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, I did grow up in a single home, but in a single parent home, but still, it's not. It's a very, very, very personal decision to choose to go on as a single parent. I'll come back to that, but you're in your 30s. There's nothing wrong with freezing your eggs. Do you understand? There's nothing wrong with freezing your eggs because I am coming across a lot of women who are in this relationship forever and ever and ever, and then they hit 40, they hit 40 something, the relationship breaks up, they are shattered, they don't know where they're going to start again, they want to now have children. At 40 something, you can still have children, obviously, but it's just not as easy as when you are in your 20s or in your early 30s. You know, my advice is if you can freeze your eggs, there's nothing wrong with freezing your eggs.
Yeah.
You know, freeze your eggs, and when you get better quality eggs. So in terms of the older age, it's not as if you don't have eggs, it's the quality of the eggs that becomes a problem. You know, at that age, you are better off freezing embryos as opposed to freezing eggs. When you're younger, your eggs are richer.
Yeah.
You can freeze them and they would better survive the thawing process as opposed to when you're that older. Before you get a good quality one that you can even freeze, it takes more time, more energy, more effort. However, some people are blessed whereby even at that age they still get good quality eggs. So you're single, you're uncertain on where you're going, you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s. I mean, if you're in your 40s, I don't know about freezing your eggs again, honestly, because I don't know what quality of eggs you will be getting. But there is no harm in talking to nutritionist. There's no harm in talking to a consultant. Talking to a consultant and seeing where you're at, what your chances are. You know, again, it's not. If you don't, that's if you want children. If you don't want children, I mean, you're fine. Just enjoy your life.
Enjoy your life, yeah. But last question is: do you think you can do IVF if you're chaste? Do you know what that means?
Oh, okay. That is a very good question because that's personal to me. Yeah, you can. You just need to get over the fact that you don't have a V card, as it were, to be demonstrating to anybody, even if it is not, even if it is, oh God, even if it is artificially removed, you can.
You said it's personal to you.
I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay then.
But it is something to think about. So I know some people think about that what happened. Again, it's how attached you are to all of that. It's a case of what you want, how strongly, how strong is your desire. Yes. How strong is your desire, and what does you go for IVF doesn't mean you're promiscuous or you're not. I think when you're a virgin, yeah, it's not at the end of the day. You understand? It means that you would have to consider the repercussions for you, because some societies it is very important. But when you're from such a society, you also have to consider. I mean, don't you're not under pressure to do anything. There's no pressure. Nobody lives with the consequences with you.
Yeah, it's just you.
It's just you. So it has to be something that you want, that you can do. I'm not talking to some people here. I'm talking to
everybody, every woman.
That every woman, you have a choice. You have a choice. You whatever you decide you're going to live with, so you have to be making a decision to live with something that you are comfortable with. That you can deal with the consequences of.
Yeah, we have like to wrap up the episode, we have like a segment where we ask people what their dreams are, and we'd like to hear what your dream is, and then after which there's a non-alcoholic wine. Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
There's a non-alcoholic wine, so we ask you like, what's your dream as a person, as a mother of pod? What's your dream? And after which you say your dreams are valid, and then we cheers.
Oh, that's it.
Yes, what's your dream?
My dream is to see my children grow up, to see their children. Um, I want to be comfortable, to live a comfortable, happy life, seeing my children and their children. I also want to be in a position to help other women in who are walking a similar path to mine, not just a similar path to mine. There are a lot of women who have one fertility issue or the other, and sometimes it can be a very lonely path to walk. You know, it's a dream of mine to be able to cheer them up, to be there to cheer them on. That yeah, you've got this, you can do this. You've got this, you can do this, and um, it's something I'm working on.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not sure if that's part of the story, but I have. If you can contact me if it's something that you need to talk about as well. But yeah, that's my dream.
Your dreams are valid.
To make an impact.
That's good. I love it, and it's valid. Cheers. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode. This episode was honest. It's hard to talk about it, when you've walked the path. But Dayo is a single mother by choice with quadruplets. A brave decision. I can't even lie, but very inspiring story. I hope you enjoyed it. But in the meantime, don't forget to like, subscribe, tell a friend, and comment. Bye bye, and see you in the next episode.